Halo.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It was Halo.
Was that because you can say that a little louder? I'm not quite hearing you, man.
Halo.
Hello.
Something's wrong with her. Peter.
There is much talk, and I have listened through rock and metal and time. Now I shall talk, and you shall listen to me talk about Halo 2. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Alina.
I'm Cole.
And I'm just as lost as the previous two Halo episodes.
And welcome to this. I'm gonna be talking about Halo again. Can you tell how excited I am?
No.
Really? Must be doing such a good job at hiding how excited I am to talk about my favorite Halo game.
Like a fat kid in a candy store.
Is that more or less rude than the fact that I was thinking of a dog?
Absolutely more rude than that.
Oh.
When anyone in my life gets excitable, I think of them as a dog. I mean, it doesn't help that you've played an actual dog in one of our tabletop games.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Hello. Oh my God! Are we talking about Halo? Whoa!
I just like talking about my favorite
Game whenever I can.
And this time I don't even have to pretend that you were talking about Halo 2, because I know you were!
And then we'll go to New Mombasa. I've actually played Halo 2, I don't know any other locations. Except I do know Halo 2. And I have played it. So many times.
How many times, Elena? How many?
Well,
Approximately, how many hours?
so... Okay. I have... This is funny. So in the Master Chief Collection, which is basically a Halo game that has all the Halo games up to Halo 4 in it. It tracks your data for each game. So like how long you've played it, how many points you've gotten if you do the scoring, like stuff like that. And sorry. And when I go to my time for Halo 2, it's broken.
You know numbers? Yeah, we went past those.
It's broken. So I decided to go with so my theory is that it's broken because it's taken the data of you playing the games on your account, right? So like it took data from like Xbox 360, and like Xbox One also, and put it into the time that you've played that game. So I did the math on the numbers it presented me with. And my total playtime on Halo 2 is about 2/3 of a year. Not including the original Xbox stuff, because that wasn't online.
So yeah, we have transcended numbers.
Yeah. Yes, we have.
How many hours is 2/3 of a year?
Well, here's 365 days. So we do 365 times 24. We get 8,760. Divide that by... Divide that? Yeah. Times?
Times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, times 0.67.
Times... I'll just put 2/3 for funsies in parentheses. So that's 5,840 hours.
Okay.
That's a lot of hours.
I play Halo a lot. And 2's my favorite, so it got big number.
Yeah. For reference, I only have 1,400 hours in Binding of Isaac.
How many hours do I have in Warframe?
Less than me, actually.
Oh, on PC, yes. Because not all my hours are on Steam.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things I found on Xbox was like if you go to a certain game, it will like rank you with your friends with how much playtime you have in a game. So for the Master Chief Collection, I am in second place with 27 days, 20 hours, and 58 minutes.
Oh my god.
I note that I'm in second. First place is my dad with 35 days, 22 hours, and 11 minutes.
The only person I know of who could possibly have more than you.
So, yeah, I played Halo a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know this about you.
Sorry. I don't think I can do that. I have too much Halo to play.
Boots up Halo 2.
Boots up Halo 2. Leaves the podcast recording. Goes to my Xbox, boots up Halo 2, just plays it.
Literally just like, don't leave the call. Just walk to the other side of the room. We'll still hear you.
You literally just... Controller noises, controller noises, controller noises. Oh man, I couldn't run through there. Controller noises, controller...
You saying the monologue at the same time as the character.
Yeah, no, reciting the entirety of Halo 2 word for word as it's happening.
The fact that I
She actually did that when we played it together.
No, I didn't. I can... I'm like a devout Christian with Halo. I can cite it page by page.
Chapter and verse. Well, we see here it says in Gravemind.
It says in the
Gravemind, page 2, verse 11.
If you
It's
will
like a
not see
chapter.
the
It's
truth, I will show it to you.
Book, chapter,
There
verse.
is still time to stop the key from turning, but first it must be found.
Dearly devoted, we are gathered here today to praise Gravemind.
I think that's the last one we want to be praising, I'm not gonna lie.
It's the closest thing to a god you encounter.
I'm sorry, the Covenant worship the Forerunners like gods, excuse me?
Yeah, yeah, when you do run into those guys later, sorry, spoilers, they suck and are just, like, they're just people, but with telekinesis.
You know what I think they should have been?
Still dead?
Yeah. Dead.
The spoiler left my mouth before I could warn the audience.
It's Halo 4 has been out for years, man. It's fine.
That's true. It's like when you spoil fucking Star Wars.
Yeah. I
And
can't believe Darth
what do you
Vader
mean
was
Darth
Luke's-
Vader's Luke died?
We're talking about Halo 2, the second one.
Halo's Gate 3.
Halo's Gate 3.
All right.
The Halos are gates to death.
Yeah, it's instant death, in fact, for the whole galaxy. Anyway, it's plot synopsis time.
Oh boy, the bulk of the episode?
Yeah, even though... Yes, so... Halo 2 starts with the Covenant. It starts with what is essentially the Covenant's version of a trial. This lad, this elite guy, this dude, he's an elite. He commanded a whole fleet of ships. He's getting chewed out by the Covenant, by the Council, by the prophets even, because he let the Master Chief blow up the ring in Combat Evolved. he fucked up. He fucked up big time. He's basically retelling his story of what happened. So basically, they chased the Pillar of Autumn to the Halo Ring, and before this guy knew it, Master Chief blew the thing up. Kablooey, and everyone hates him for it. they're all yelling at him. They're calling it heresy. They think he's a heretic for this.
What is this? Warhammer?
Shut the fuck up, get your goddamn... Anyway, so they think he's a heretic. And the prophets... Basically, one of them's like, this has gone on long enough, just making an example of this guy, we're wasting everyone's time. So they basically go, yeah, you're a heretic. Jail. And he gets taken away. We then cut to the UNSC, specifically a space station above Earth, the planet Earth. We're finally at Earth. we haven't been here yet. Where the Master Chief's getting his armor fixed by a guy. And is then taken by Johnson to a sort of award ceremony going on for the acts of the previous game. The game then, the cutscene then sort of goes back and forth between what's happening to the Master Chief, which is he's getting praised, he's getting an award along with Sergeant Johnson and Commander Keyes, which is Captain Keyes' daughter. And it cuts to this elite guy who's getting basically burned and branded for being a heretic. So it's basically going back and forth between Master Chief's getting praised as a hero. This guy's whole life is being ruined. This sort of back and forth ends at the space station at the UNSC, where a Covenant fleet just sort of shows up, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck!" Because I don't remember if we talked about this, but it's a very big thing in Halo, in the UNSC, that under no circumstances does the UNSC want the Covenant to know anything about Earth, like where it is, what it is, anything like that. And they just sort of showed
If
up.
you are in a naval battle in the space
Mhm.
with Covenant ships, you are instructed to, if you can, get the fuck out of there. And do so in a specific manner, a very specific manner, that will not lead back to Earth or any inner colonies,
Yes, and if it's
which are close to Earth.
and if you can't escape, you are to scrub
Die.
all data. You are to scrub all data of Earth off of the computers, and then hit the self-destruct button. Like, these people really don't want the Covenant knowing where Earth is, and guess who just fucking showed up? So obviously, your first mission is to defend the station, as the station is a part of an entire orbital defense force. And they don't want the stations that are meant to protect the planet to get exploded. So you run around the station, yada yada yada. And you get to a room where you can see one of the other stations. And you see that the Covenant are retreating from it, and you hear somebody say, "Oh, they retreated, we won!" And then it explodes. This happens to a second station, to which the realization comes that there's a bomb on the station, and you gotta find it, you gotta turn it off before it blows up. So, you run around the station more, yada yada yada. You get to the room with the bomb in it. You kill all the Covenant in the room with the bomb in it, and then you tap the button on it before it explodes.
The disarm button.
Yes, the disarm button, which is entirely decoded by Cortana. Master Chief then gets on the line with Lord Hood, which if y'all don't know who Lord Hood is, he's basically the big boy in charge at the UNSC. He is the big lad.
I'm saying this because a few days ago I forgot who Lord Hood was.
I mean, I was just saying it because he didn't
part of
exist
it.
until now.
Are you making
but, like,
fun of me?
no. He
How dare you?
I'm making fun of you through Elena's knowledge.
What?
I know nothing about Halo. However, I can still make fun of you for not knowing something about a game you've already played.
It's kind of difficult to pay attention to the plot when we were making jokes the entire time.
I was reciting it to you verbatim.
Yeah, well that actually made it more difficult to follow along.
Well then fine, here, let me recite it to you verbatim again.
The entire game.
Yeah.
Like it was coming out of the TV, and then also you were saying it, and my ears got confused.
But they were saying the same thing.
Yeah, but there was like a slight delay between them.
But anyway, that's Lord Hood, for anybody who didn't know. And so basically Master Chief gets in contact with Lord Hood, and he says, "Permission to leave the station." And Lord Hood says, "For what purpose, Master Chief?" And the Master Chief replies with, "To give the Covenant back their bomb." So this man goes to the nearest airlock with the bomb, dragging it behind him, puts it at the back of the airlock, walks up to a wall within the airlock that has a switch that opens the door. During this interaction, Cortana says, "I know what you're thinking, and it's crazy." Master Chief says, "So stay here," and Cortana then says, Unfortunately for us both, I like crazy. And then proceeds to ask the question, what if you miss? And then Master Chief just says, I won't, and then pulls the lever. Which opens the door to the vacuum of space. Due to the pressure change, the bomb gets fucking dragged out into the void of space, but it goes past the Master Chief, who grabs onto it and goes with it. We see an entire sequence of a bunch of UNSC ships fighting Covenant ships, and it's all this stuff going on, and he's just blasting through it straight to a Covenant ship. A couple of UNSC jets shoot a hole into it. The Master Chief goes through that hole, pushes the on button on the bomb, pushes himself away from it using the bomb as momentum. The ship explodes, and then the Master Chief lands on, lands on a UNSC ship, to which Johnson, who's on said ship, says, for a brick, he flew pretty good. So, that's the end of that mission. Next mission. So for the next mission, you head to Earth. You head to Earth because some of the Covenant got to the Earth, and that's bad. So you go to Earth. You are in a Pelican. Now, the UNSC intercepts some communications from the Covenant, and they realize that there's a message that's just saying regret over and over and over again. Sergeant Johnson seems to think it is a what's the word? I don't know.
An encryption?
No. Johnson thinks it is the Covenant proclaiming that they regret everything they're doing. Phrasing it specifically as, Dear humanity, we regret being alien bastards. We regret coming to Earth, and we most certainly regret that the Corps just blew up our raggedy-ass fleet. Hoorah! But Cortana corrects him, and is like, regret is a name, Sergeant. So, regret's a name. That is the name of one of the prophets of the Covenant. One of the head honchos. Apparently he's here. So, like, you could get him and figure out why he's here.
Man,
or better yet,
love
kill him. Either one.
I love killing aliens for doing nothing aside from being alien.
and leading an entire fleet that is trying to kill me.
Shh, I'm a sympathizer.
And destroy the entire galaxy. By making a Ringo burr.
I forget which prophet it is, but one of the three of them has, like, fully deluded himself into believing in the holy mission.
All of them.
No, one of is it like two of them, like, know that they'll die, but, like, don't super care.
I think it's just one of them, actually. Maybe? I'm not sure, actually. I know one of them's, like, really into the religion thing. I think... Okay. So, there's the prophet... There's three prophets. There's the prophet of truth, the prophet of mercy, and the prophet of regret. Prophet of regret is the one that's at Earth right now. Despite there being multiple missions about killing him, I don't know much about him. most of his lines involve him speaking to the Covenant as a prophet, so it's hard to see, like, what he actually thinks. Then you have the Prophet of Mercy, who is, like, very into the religion thing. Even when he is in, like, a room alone with other prophets, he's like, oh, the great journey! Onward, God, we're gonna burn a path in the bar! You know, like, all this stuff.
The two are like, oh, This guy, am I right?
And then we have the prophet of truth, which is the least into the whole religion part of it, and is just doing it anyway. I'm sure he believes the great journey part. I think he's just more power hungry than the others, so he's more focused on that than the religion aspect. Anyway, the regret lad is at Earth, and you could get him. But before you can make any plans to do that, this thing called a scarab shows up. A scarab. For those of you who don't know what a scarab is, it's this covenant thing that's it looks like a spider, except it's got lasers on it, and it's a robot. It's more of a mech, really.
Isn't that controlled by the worms?
No, that's a hunter.
Aren't scarabs also controlled by worms?
I don't know if the one in 2 is. Because the one in Halo 2 is different than the ones that are come later.
No, you're right. Yeah, the 1 and 2 is it.
Yeah, the 1 and 2 is just a machine. It is a different type of scarab that never shows up again.
Because they invent the worms using the scarabs for
Well,
the
actually,
thing.
the newer scarabs are in Reach, so I don't actually know. I don't know where the one from 2 came from. It might just be a retconned out of existence now. I don't know.
I'm very sure it just got retconned out of existence because
Yeah.
that happens a lot.
Yeah. But anyway,
I'm surprised these games aren't more famous for their retcons.
Anyway. Your fleet of pelicans gets shot by a scarab and your pelican crashes. And so this level's just running around the city that you were in, which is New Mombasa. So you're basically running around trying to catch up with the scarab and take it down. That's your mission. Ooh. There's one encounter with Johnson you have where he gives you a tank. He gives you a tank, proclaims he knows what the ladies like, and then leaves. Also, fun fact, one of the Marines in that cutscene is the same voice actor as Minion from Megamind.
What?
Yes,
Damn.
it's the same guy. But anyway, you then tank around, or warthog around, if you're me, because there's a warthog back there and it's faster. So you tank around, blah, 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 and you get to the scarab, and then you blow up the scarab. Congratulations, you did it. After you do this, the UNSC forces notice that the big Covenant ship that's been floating over New Mombasa this whole time is starting to leave, but it's not starting to leave like one would normally leave. It basically is activating a sleep space rupture in the city.
Wow.
So, basically, you gotta get the fuck out of there. So, in Amberclad, which is the name of the UNSC ship that Commander Keyes runs, follows the ship along with you in Amberclad through the slip space rupture, and once the slip space rupture closes, New Mombasa gets the equivalent of nuked. This is especially apparent because New Mombasa got this cool thing called a space elevator in it. This is a space elevator. It connects to a space station. It connects to New Mombasa, and you can take an elevator up to space, and that breaks and collapses downward onto the city. This is further explored in Halo 3 ODST, but we're not there yet. I think that's the next Halo thing we go over. Anyway, so in Amberclad follows the ship through the slipspace rupture, and then we cut back to the Covenant. We cut back to this guy, this lad, this elite boy, who is now being dragged by a group of brutes, including Tartarus, chieftain of the brutes, to the prophets. Because, according to Tartarus, they have something special in mind for this guy. So they get there, the brutes are told to leave, and the prophets are like, hey, listen, buddy, we know you're not a heretic. Okay, like, the council was overreacting. They were mad. They were mad. They wanted to point fingers. You're not a heretic. You made a mistake. You know, like that. Like you made a mistake. You take full blame for it. You know, like listen, man, it's fine. And then they show him an example of a real heretic that's currently trying to break up the Covenant. They never say his name. He's just the heretic guy. But they show a clip of this guy to this elite in order to showcase what a true heretic would say, which is as follows: our prophets are false. Open your eyes, my brothers. They would use the faith of our forefathers to bring ruin to us all. The great journey is a... And then they cut him off. Because he was going to say it's a lie. So they basically are like, listen, do you know where we are right now? And it's revealed that the room they're in is called the Mausoleum of the Arbiter. And this guy's like, I don't belong here. And they're like, listen, man. You could get this heretic guy. You could kill him. Like, you could do us a huge favor here. All you gotta do is be the Arbiter. And this guy's like, but what about the council? Like, they want me dead, you know? And they're like, dude, the Arbiter goes on like suicide missions. They'll have their corpse.
You're gonna die.
You're gonna die from. Trust me, they'll be.
We're still gonna kill you.
Yeah, just. We just want to kill you in a more useful way. So, this guy gets up and he walks over to this Arbiter armor, and he puts the helmet on, and then the Arbiter says, "What would you have your Arbiter do?" So what they're gonna have him do is assassinate this guy. This is when it cuts to the mission where you kill this guy. You're going to this station. It's an old Forerunner station that's being held up by a cable. By a fucking cable. I'm assuming by some sort of satellite in space. I don't know. It never shows or says. It's in the sky and there's a cable. But anyway, this is where we meet the shipmaster. He's not a shipmaster yet. But like, again, they don't say his name, so that's all I got to go off of. He basically gives a speech to the other elites in the Phantom they're in. Basically, heretics suck. They don't get pity or mercy. We're gonna kill them. He then sort of walks up to Arbiter, our new arbiter friend, and he says, "You are the arbiter, the will of the prophets, but these are my elites. Their lives matter to me, yours does not." To which the arbiter responds, "That makes two of us." And this guy just kind of goes, like,
That's kind of the perfect guy to send in the suicide
yeah,
mission.
the guy that wants to die. Yeah, okay. Glad we're on the same page. And then you play as the arbiter. This has never happened before.
Wow, in all of the one game that existed before Halo 2.
Yeah. You get to play a different guy.
I think getting to play as a different guy in the second game is pretty common.
Yeah, like Mario and Luigi. The Arbiter's Luigi.
Where's Luigi?
Oh my god. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, it's basically you run around the station trying to find this guy to kill him. The only difference being from when you play as Master Chief is that you can turn invisible. This makes speedrunning way easier. The amount of enemies I have just walked past. Hey, you're going through. And eventually, you get to what's technically the next mission. You're still in the same place. It's still the same mission. But basically, a little cutscene plays where the shipmaster's like he's sniffing around. He's sniffing around, and the arbiter's like, what's up? What are you doing? And the shipmaster's like, the stench. I've smelled it before. And then you walk into a room, and it's blood everywhere. Guess who's back, baby? It's the flood.
Oh, hooray! My favorite guys.
Yeah.
They're just little guys.
They're just little guys. Silly little.
Let them into your skin. Let them inside you.
Yeah, let them eat you. Use your corpse as a puppet.
Question.
Let them pilot your rotting cadaver like a fucking sports car.
Yeah, so now you're fighting heretics and the flood. Woo! Oh, and the systems at the Forerunner site, because fun fact, the all of the Forerunner technology that can like move and shoot things doesn't like anything that isn't supposed to be there. And you know what's not supposed to be there? Any of the Covenant.
Anything that's not a foreigner, really.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're fighting all of that. But eventually, you catch up to the guy. You're running after that guy. He's right across the room, and you go to get him, and then a force field appears between you and the room he's in, and you can't get through it, and he's like... Because a bit earlier it was mentioned that there's a storm heading towards this facility, but, Shipmaster just brushes it off. He's like, we'll be long gone before it arrives.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, turns out he was wrong.
Cut forward to now, and he sure is fucking wrong.
Yeah, so basically, what the heretic guy says here is, once he's behind the force field, he says, "This will save me from the storm, but you will be consumed." So basically, he's just gonna hide in there until y'all are dead.
Like a bitch.
Like a bitch, exactly. And the shipmaster catches up with you, and he's like, "Where the heck is this guy?" And I just sort of like points at him, and the shipmaster's like, "How? We'll never break through this. Like, how are we supposed to kill him now?" And the arbiter says, "We shall force him out." And the shipmaster's like, "How?" And the arbiter's like, "The cable. I'm going to cut it." So, arbiter goes up the stairs, walks over to all the things holding the cable in place, cuts them out,
Well, time to die.
and the entire station begins to go into freefall. This obviously causes the heretic to get the fuck out of the room he was in. And the arbiter chases after him. Some more chase.
Arbiter's so real for that.
So yeah, more chasing shenanigans ensue. You finally catch up to the guy. You're finally in the same room as the guy without a force field in the way this time. And then the heretic starts talking to the arbiter a little bit, you know, and he's like, "I would rather die by your hand than let the prophets lead me to slaughter." And then, you know, the arbiter's getting straight to the point. He's not here for talk. He's here for answers. And he's like, "Who taught you these lies?" And then 343 Guilty Spark just appears from behind the ship in the room. The arbiter's like, "The Oracle?" Because, fun fact, the Covenant think that the all of the little fucking monitors of the installations are oracles, because they know everything about how the installation works. Because that's their job. And so, you know, the heretic's just like, "Go on, ask it questions, ask it like what Halo really does and what it's really for, blah blah blah." And then, you know, Guilty Spark, you know, goes off and is like, "Oh, questions, great, I like questions." And then the heretic starts shooting at you because it's like, you're here to kill him. And we learn that this heretic's specific goal is to get the elites out of the Covenant, because he says the elites are blind, Arbiter, but I will make them see. Anyway, you kill him. Mission accomplished. And you know,
I'm still here.
The arbiter, you know, just dragging this guy's body out to where he can be picked up by a phantom, and you know, the arbiter's just like no, the Guilty Spark basically is like, "Oh man, that's a shame." The arbiter's like, "I had to kill him. He was endangering the great journey." And Guilty Spark is like, "Oracle, great journey? Why do you all insist on using such incorrect, like, verbiage?" And then gets fucking yoinked by Tartarus, chieftain of the brutes. Very unceremoniously and rudely, might I add. Which is emphasized
but I hate Guilty Sparks. Okay,
which is I do too, but this is emphasized by the fact that the arbiter looks at Tartarus like he's fucking insane and goes, "That is the Oracle." And then Tartarus just looks at him like, "So it is," and then fucking chucks the Guilty Spark into the ship and is like, "Come on, we gotta go." Did you forget that the station is falling? Anyway, yeah, so we cut back to the UNSC, baby. It's a lot of back and forth with this one. So last we checked in with the UNSC, they went through the slip space rupture with the Covenant ship. So now we're coming out of the slip space rupture into a random point in space. But it's not just any random point in space, because Commander Keys is looking at this thing in the distance, and she's like, "Hey, Cortana, what is that?" And then Cortana goes, "Oh, that's another Halo."
I guess it wouldn't make sense if just one Halo could eat the entire galaxy.
But this causes Johnson specifically to go, "What?" Excuse me. So yeah, basically, this cutscene basically just does a rundown of what the Halo ring is and what it does, just in case you didn't play the first game before booting this one up.
Who would ever do that?
My dad did that.
Me, but for Destiny.
Anyway, but yeah, so it just does a rundown of what the ring knows. And so yeah, basically you go to land on the Halo ring once again, except this time your goal is not to blow up the ring yet. The Master Chief's goal specifically in this mission is to kill the Prophet of Regret, because he's here. It is... I missed a point. My bad. Yeah, so during the gameplay of when you're in New Mombasa... Actually... it's either New Mombasa or in this mission. At some point you learn that the whole Covenant randomly showing up to Earth... a mistake. They did not realize that Earth was there. They just sort of jumped there and were like, "Oh, huh." This makes a line earlier in the game make sense, because Lord Hood, when the Covenant first showed up, is very confused, because he says the fleet that attacked Reach was 50 times this size. Back to the mission at hand. You have to kill the Prophet of Regret. You also learn the pretty obvious plan that they want to activate the ring so they can go on the great journey. You also learn as you get closer and closer to Regret that his whole panicked jump to the next Halo ring, not looking great to the other prophets, who are like, "Did you just lead the humans to the other Halo ring we found? You fucking idiot!" And he's like, I didn't foresee them being here. I didn't foresee Earth being there. I'm sorry."
And that's verbatim.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. I should know. I've played it for 5,840 hours. Anyway. Anyway, a lot less lore happens in the in-between bits of this mission, so you get to where the Prophet of Regret is, only to be somewhat interrupted by the largest Covenant fleet you've ever fucking seen, and anyone has ever seen, including High Charity. High Charity is the Prophet's holy city. It's basically the capital of the Covenant, and it's also a space-faring object.
And, planet ship.
Yeah, and it's here now. So the entirety of the Covenant has just shown up. And you're like, "Oh, I better kill this guy now." Or I ain't gonna be able to. So, in your Master Chief way, you run into the building that the Prophet of Regret's in. You hypothetically, kill everyone in the room. You then beat the man to death. You literally jump on his stupid fucking chair and punch him in the face until he dies. If you do it how I do it, you don't even kill everyone in the room. You just run past everyone, beat them up, and then leave. While the Covenant forces look on in horror. But yeah, so, he's dead now, and the Covenant aren't too happy about it, so in retaliation, they decide to glass the entire area right then and there with you there. So, the Master Chief's like, oh fuck, and then runs as fast as he can, and jumps into the water down below. And he seems somewhat unconscious after this, because I think he got nicked a little bit by the glassing.
You just got nicked by a laser beam.
And it's just sort of like going into the water, because like the suit he's in is a ton. He ain't gonna float. And then this tentacle thing comes up from the water and grabs him and starts to pull him down. And as this happens, you hear, "This is not your grave, but you are welcome in it." Anyway, we cut back to the Covenant.
Well, my name's Gravemind, and welcome to MTV Cribs. I live here.
I just found the Master Chief in my pool.
I just had the Master Chief in my pool. Not clickbait. Gone weird. Gone weird. Gone sexual.
No.
It's just clickbait. There's no actual.
I was gonna say it does have nickels, so like.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. Thank you.
Pain. Anyway, we go back to the Covenant, where we actually see the two storylines starting to affect each other. So, for some context before I get into this next scene, there are certain soldiers of the Covenant whose specific job is to protect the hierarchs, or the prophets, the big lads, and they have done so since basically the beginning of the Covenant. These soldiers are specifically elites, and they wear this special armor, and they all have swords, and you know, it's tradition that they be here. So, with that in mind, what just happened is that the Master Chief, or in the Covenant's case, the demon, just ran through a ton of these soldiers, killed all of them no problem, walked straight into the room that the Prophet of Regret was in, killed all of the special soldiers in there, again with little to no problem, and then beat the Prophet of Regret to death.
I really enjoy killing old people sometimes.
Okay.
Well, the prophets are old, aren't they?
I don't know if they're old or if that's just what they look like.
Well, they look old and they sound old, and so to me they're old.
Fair
in
enough.
my human perception.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, so since that just happened, we get back to the Covenant, where the Arbiter's, you know, walking to the room with the prophets in it, because they're going to give him his next mission, because he does report directly to them. And as he's walking down this hall, he notices that the brutes are taking the armor from these special elites and putting it on themselves. He then walks in the room with the prophets, where Shipmaster and some buds are basically trying to fight against what has been a bit of a change. What is essentially happening is the prophets have claimed that the elites are no longer fit to be protecting the prophets, or the hierarchs for that matter, and so they are switching that responsibility to the brutes instead.
So what I'm hearing is that the elites are no longer elite.
Yeah, they're just
My favorite fucking joke. Yeah, they're not elites anymore. They're just.
Anyway, so prophets shoo the shipmaster away. And what you learn is that the Council of Elites is threatening to resign because of this. Like this is a big thing. And the Arbiter points out, oh, we've always been your protectors, and you know, the prophets make the point I just made, where they're like, yeah, well, Regret's dead. So they say it less bluntly than that, but that's basically what they say. But they change the topic to give the Arbiter his next mission. So if we look back at the original game, Covenant had no fucking clue how the ring worked. No idea. They were trying to figure out how it worked, but you blew it up, so kind of hard to figure out how something works if it's not there anymore. But now they have the Oracle. So once they did that thing that the Guilty Spark really likes, which is ask him questions, they figured out about the index, about the library, about how to put the index in the thing to make the thing go. They learned all of it. They know how it works now. They can actually start the great journey. But first, they need the index. I'm sorry, did I say index? I meant the sacred icon. So basically, your next mission is to get the sacred icon from the library. So you go to do that. Because at this point, you also learn that the human that killed the Prophet of Regret was the demon, from Tartarus. And the Arbiter's like, that motherfucker lost me my job! But it's in his head.
That motherfucker lost me my job! I'm gonna go lose him his life, and me mine!
This mostly goes on in Arbiter's head, and he denies this, because, you know, basically how the interaction goes is like, Arbiter asks, who killed the Prophet of Regret? Tartarus is like, who do you think? The Arbiter's like, the demon is here? And Tartarus is like, looking for a little payback? The Arbiter's like, retrieving the icon is my only concern. And Tartarus is like, uh-huh.
That's
coward.
Coward.
So, you go to get the sacred icon. This is difficult. Because the, this place sure does not like you here. But, hey. It's okay, because you know what else it doesn't like having here? The flood. The flood's here too, and it's you're fighting the flood again. At some point during this, you meet the shipmaster again. Yay! You update him on your situation. Like, there's a sacred icon. We need it to do the Great Journey thing. I gotta find it. Help me. Gravemaster. Gravemaster? Whoa. Shipmaster does this thing with the speeches where he's like, we're gonna go get the thing and we're gonna be cool. And everyone's like, yay! So you continue your way through flood forces and everything. All the while you're hearing snippets of human radios. So the humans are here, you know that.
Man, I love killing humans. Is what the Arbiter thinks.
Is what the Arbiter thinks. So, you know, and
He just like me for real.
He just yes, so you get to a gondola that floats, because it's Forerunner. And a lot of stuff they have floats. And the shipmaster's like, bro, you got this. I'm gonna make sure the flood don't follow you, and I got your back, buddy. And he stays behind basically. And the Arbiter goes on the gondola, and Tartarus in his phantom over here is like, that fucking coward just left. Fucking loser. Don't worry, I'll stop the fun. I got your back, buddy. So on this gondola ride, you fight the flood. Sorry, there's a thing you can do in this mission where you literally just find a hole in the gondola and stand there the whole time, and you don't have to fight anything. So I've never actually properly done that level, but I hear flood noises whenever I get in the hole, so I'm gonna assume you're fighting flood the whole time. On the gondola ride, you see that the other gondola is ahead of you and moving. This is because earlier in the game, Commander Keyes and Johnson decided to go get the index themselves, which is why you weren't doing it when you were killing the Prophet of Regret as the Master Chief. Because they got it already. They're doing their job. So basically now you gotta catch up to them before they get the index, because you need it. It's your sacred icon, man. So basically,
my sacred icon.
My sacred icon. No,
It wouldn't deprive a little guy of his sacred icon, would
you get in the library. You get to the room that has the key in it. In the cutscene, it shows Commander Keyes retrieving the index, putting it on her belt. Y'all are just her and Johnson are doing a good job, and then Johnson calls out to some Marines and they don't respond, and he's like, ruh-roh. So he starts looking around for the threat, and the threat is you, the Arbiter. The Arbiter and Johnson get into a pretty neat fight until the Arbiter knocks Johnson out. Commander Keyes starts shooting at the Arbiter. The Arbiter goes back into the shadows. Commander Keyes is like, yo, Johnson. He's unconscious. Arbiter leaps out of the darkness again. Leaps out of the darkness again, throws Commander Keyes' gun to the side, is what I'm assuming about to kill and or knock her out. And then Tartarus yoinks her and takes the sacred icon and is like, good work, Arbiter. And the Arbiter's like, the icon is my responsibility. And Tartarus says, was your responsibility. Now it is mine. This is when Tartarus goes full-on racist. He basically proclaims that the entirety of the elite race are cowards, incompetent, and that he's gonna slaughter them all. The Arbiter then is like, when the prophets hear of this, they're gonna take your head, and then Tartarus interrupts him and it says, when they learn, fool, they ordered me to do it. And then throws him in a pit.
Welcome to the hole.
Welcome to the hole. This...
You don't understand why bad guys keep throwing protagonists into a hole instead of just killing them.
Because it's funnier.
In case they want a snack later.
Lesson of the day: kill your enemies instead of just tossing them off cliffs.
Yes.
There's a non-zero chance they will survive.
Not die.
Not die.
Survival is not necessarily equivalent to not dying.
They could survive being thrown from a cliff. There's a myriad of ways to do that. There's significantly less ways to survive being stabbed in the heart.
The next cutscene happens. The Master Chief is being dragged into a hole by this tentacle thing. Gets dragged into the room. Cortana asks, "What is that?" And this thing responds with, I am a monument to all your sins.
Okay, but how though?
This becomes relevant later. We then see the Arbiter flailing around like a maniac because he's like, "Oh fuck! Oh god! What is this thing?" The demon, you know, that one that took his job and blew up his precious Halo ring, tells him to calm down, and the Arbiter's like, "You, you motherfucker."
Come into my house. Blow up my Halo ring. Tell me to calm down.
Lose me my job.
Get me demoted to Arbiter.
Anyway, this thing, which we know is the Grave Mind, which is just, it's the flood. Grave Mind's just the flood. This thing proceeds to start comparing back and forth between the Master Chief and Arbiter. So it says, when looking at the Master Chief, this one is machine and nerve, and has his mind concluded. Then it looks at Arbiter and says, this one is but flesh and faith, and is the more deluded. Arbiter ain't having any of this shit. He's like, you either kill me, or you release me. But you do not waste my time with talk. The Gravemind responds to this with, there is much talk, and I have listened. Through rock and metal and time. Now I shall talk, and you shall listen. And he pulls up the Prophet of Regret, half attached to a tentacle, and then the monitor of the installation you are on, also wrapped in tentacles, but not like melded with one, because it's a robot. It don't got flesh. The monitor instantly recognizes the Master Chief as a reclaimer, similar to what 343 Guilty Spark did in the first game, and is like, we have much to do. We have to activate this ring if we want to control this outbreak. It gets semi-interrupted by the Prophet of Regret, who's like, stay where you are. Nothing can be done until my sermon is complete. The monitor responds with, not true. This installation has a successful fire rate of 1.2 trillion simulated and 1 actual. It is ready to fire on demand. the two sides of this coin start basically arguing with each other on what oh, this thing doesn't know anything about the Great Journey, this guy doesn't know anything about containment. They go back and forth, and then the Gravemind butts in and he says, this one's containment and this one's Great Journey are the same. Your prophets have the hair in my mouth. Ah, God. No. Okay.
It's the flood spore, Lena.
Your prophets have promised you freedom from a doomed existence, but you will find no salvation on this ring. Those who built this place knew what they wrought. Do not mistake their intent, or all shall perish as they did before. Master Chief agrees with the Gravemind. Arbiter's being a stubborn little bitch about it. Basically, like, you blew up one ring, I'm not gonna let you blow up this one. Seemingly ignoring the Gravemind. So the Gravemind responds to that with, if you will not hear the truth, then I will show it to you. There is still time to stop the key from turning, but first it must be found. You will search one likely spot, and you will search another. Fate had us meet as foes, but this ring will make us brothers, and then it sends him off! Sends him off. The first perspective we look at is Master Chief. He was sent to High Charity itself. He interrupts a broadcast where the prophets are like, yo, we got the sacred icon! Yeah! Let's fucking go! And then the whole place is basically like, the demons in the capital, kill him? Kill him, please. Fuck's sake.
Cortana, I'm going to explode. I'm activating the nuclear power cell.
Wait, Chief, we get... Anyway, yeah, so... You run around and kill a bunch of people in the city. They're trying to kill you, though.
It's self-defense.
It's
I swear.
I swear.
Yeah, premeditated self-defense.
I don't know if that works if it's premeditated, but also they don't charge you with crimes during war in this world. They actually really should.
Oh well. Anyway.
Sucks for the victims, I guess.
But yeah, so you basically run around the city. In Amber Clad shows up at some point during your running around, cause if you don't remember, Commander Keys and Johnson got fucking yoinked by brutes. They have them. So like the UNSC's like, give them back.
Hey, those are our guys.
Those are our guys. Give them back. Which proceeds to crash off screen. At least off screen to my knowledge. Unless I've sped through that and then actually crashes on screen. When you zoom and you don't have time to look, you go. Anyway, it is also during this mission that you start to notice that certain groups of the Covenant are starting to fight each other rather than you, and you're like, huh. So basically,
Well, that's mighty convenient.
yeah. So basically, the news of the arbiter going bye-bye, kind of made all the elites like, you motherfuckers. And the elites start rebelling.
That's our holy sacred guy. That's our sacred little guy.
That's our sacred little guy. How dare you? How dare you put him in a hole?
Put him in a hole.
Gently places arbiter in hole, you motherfucker.
Gently.
I'm imagining an alternate timeline where that's what happens, and it makes it funnier. Anyway, what your mission here is A, to get the index, and B, to get your friends. So anyway, you get close to where they are, and then the perspective changes to the arbiter, who has been put on a cliff somewhere on the ring. He basically runs around until he finds the shipmaster again. Like these guys are destined to be friends or something. Both sides get updated on what's going on, and the arbiter remembers something the Gravemind said. There's still time to stop the key from turning, and he's like, "Listen, the brutes, the guys that killed our council members and hate us and want us dead, they're in there, in that room where you start the great journey. I need to get in." And Shipmaster's like, "No problem, bro. I got you." We switch perspective again back to the Master Chief, who is showing up to these three Phantoms ships leaving. Now, before he got there, it showed that Commander Keyes and Johnson are in fact there, and oh god, I'm losing my voice. Oh. Come on, voice. I need you for a little longer. Yeah, so they get put in separate Phantoms, and as the prophets and the brutes are also there, and as this is happening, a couple of flood spores show up. Rutrow. The brutes do their best to stop the flood from attacking the prophets. Unfortunately, miss one, and one goes for the Prophet of Mercy. The Prophet of Mercy is basically getting strangled to death by this thing, and Tartarus tries to take it off of Prophet of Mercy, but the Prophet of Truth stops him. And he says, "The great journey waits for no one. Not even you." And they basically leave him there to die. So these ships leave. Master Chief gets there. He sees the Prophet of Mercy just sitting there getting strangled. And he asks him like where they're going. He asks him, "Your pal, where's he going?" And the Prophet of Mercy says, "Earth, to finish what we started." And the Master Chief fucking rips the flood thing off of him and he dies. And then a flood-infested pelican crashes into High Charity. And now you have a new goal. Basically you discuss with Cortana that, you gotta get to the Forerunner ship that's sitting in the middle of High Charity. This is a ship I'm assuming that they collected at some point. And this is a ship that is going to head to Earth. So Master Chief's gotta get on that ship. Master Chief protests at first. He's like, "Hey, wait, what if they activate the ring here? Hold on." And Cortana's like, "If that happens, I will just blow up in Amberclad, since it's just crashed into the wall over here." And she elects to stay behind because she does not want to chance a remote detonation. So Master Chief leaves her in the Covenant systems and gets the fuck out of there. That's basically the whole mission, just getting the fuck out of there. Meanwhile, while you're through the mission, you're slowly seeing the High Charity get consumed by the flood. The prophets are trying to, the one remaining prophet, sorry, is trying to be no force has ever withstood our might. Like we're gonna fuck up the flood. The Gravemind is like, no, you fucking aren't. Y'all are gonna die while we shall suffer the profits of infinitude. Which, the Gravemind is right. But you don't get to see the final bits of that as you're running for the Forerunnership in the middle of the city, and you make it there. The Master Chief then tries to promise Cortana he's gonna come back for her, but then Cortana's like, nope, don't make a promise you can't keep. Get out of here. And that ship takes off. We then come back to the Arbiter again. Your mission is now to get to the room. This is where you learn that other Covenant forces have allied with the elites, at least for now, including hunters. You don't have to fight them for once, they're actually helping you. But yeah, that whole mission is just get to the room. You proceed to encounter Johnson in a scarab. He has the laser pointed right at you and is like, listen up. You don't like me, and I sure as hell don't like you. But if we don't stop the guys in there, we're gonna die. The Arbiter's like, they're locked up in there. Like, we can't get in. Johnson proceeds to do what I can only equate to loading a shotgun with the scarab. And says, well, I just happen to have a key. So he fucking melts the door with the scarab laser. You fly over there in a Banshee. You get into the room. You fight some brutes, or if you do it my way, you sneak past them and get through the door before it closes. But officially, you fight some brutes, and then you get in the room. You get in the room, and here's my theory about Arbiter, right? Because at the end of this, he stops Tartarus from firing the ring, right? But it's confusing how he got there, because if you remember with the Gravemind, he was being very stubborn about sticking to his beliefs that the Great Journey's real and that's what the ring is for. I think what they were trying to do was that for that whole middle bit where he's trying to get to the room, he's in a questioning state. Like he's starting to think like maybe these people are right and the Covenant is not. Because
maybe I shouldn't kill everybody.
Yeah, because once he gets into the room, a lot of what he starts saying, although it is technically heresy, like he basically starts saying that like there's things that even the hierarchs don't know about the ring, and and Tartarus is like take care, Arbiter, what you say is heresy. Also, before this, Tartarus is like, the fuck, I killed you.
Not well enough, motherfucker.
Yeah. So the Arbiter. So anyway, Tartarus is like, take care, Arbiter, what you say is heresy. And the Arbiter says, is it? And the Arbiter doesn't try to lecture people on like what the rings actually do. What he does is he asks the Oracle, or Guilty Spark, what the ring is and what it's supposed to do. This is interrupted at first by Tartarus, but then Johnson shows up with a sniper rifle and is like, bitch, I will shoot your head off if you don't let this happen. So Tartarus lets it happen. And so the Arbiter asks Guilty Spark, he's like, so what is the sacred ring? And 343 Guilty Spark is, as he does, tells him, he's like, it is a last resort super weapon built by the Forerunners in order to eradicate the flood threat. And then like, you know, goes into further detail, is like, you want to see the relevant data, you know, like it's all this stuff. And Arbiter sounds like betrayed in this next line, because he's like, Tartarus, the prophets have betrayed us. So that whole interaction makes me think he was questioning this entire time, and it took that for him to be like, okay. None of this is real.
I think it's a very fair interpretation.
Yeah.
I would also just like to simultaneously take the time to point out that Halo is not renowned for its stellar character writing.
No, like I said, that's how I see it. I understand, even though it's my favorite fucking Halo game, I understand that specific part was not conveyed well. For a lot of people, especially on our first playthrough, they're just like, wait, why does he want to help us now?
Well, you see, we wanted the Arbiter to end the game being on the side of being against the Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So we just kind of made that happen.
Yeah. Like, I think my interpretation was what they were going for, but it was not conveyed well. So,
I think that makes sense.
So, like that was what they were going for, but I will agree, it could have done it better. So, but anyway, after this interaction, Tartarus throws a fucking tantrum. And he's like, no, fuck you. Prophets are right. We're gonna send him on the Great Journey. Fuck you. And then forces Commander Keyes to put the key in the thing, and then the ring activates, and it's like, oh fuck. So now you have to kill Tartarus. So you kill Tartarus. And then Commander Keyes does some cool parkour in order to get to the index and pull it out of the place where it starts the activation, which stalls the activation of the ring and stops it. This is when you learn that this puts this ring in standby status and has it communicate with all of the other rings, because there's more. Because of course there's more.
They can't wipe out all life in the galaxy if there's only 2 of them.
No, there's one
It's
on
like
one end of the
one
galaxy
on-
and one on the other
yeah,
end of the
one-
galaxy. One gets one half, one gets the other half.
And they both explode at the end because the beams hate each other.
But yeah, so this is when you learn that there's a whole other layer to this. So basically, the ring, all of the rings are now in standby status to be remote activated. Not from any of the rings, but from the Ark. What is the Ark, you ask? We don't know till Halo 3. It then cuts back to the Master Chief in a final cutscene, where it shows the Forerunner ship from the Covenant flying towards Earth. Lord Hood's initial response is obviously to shoot it the fuck down. But then the Master Chief is like, this is Sierra 117, can you read me? And Lord Hood is like, isolate that signal. And he's like, Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship? And the Master Chief replies, Sir, finishing this fight. And then the game ends. We didn't get another one for years.
Yeah, he was busy finishing the fight.
Does it off screen. We did it. We won the war. What?
All those years, Master Chief was just plummeting back to Earth.
Took him that long. Well, first he entered orbit, and then
First he entered orbit.
the orbit had to decay enough for him to start falling into the atmosphere.
Halo 2.
Halo 2. I love this game. Especially the Arbiter. I love him so much.
My favorite part of Halo 2 was when the Arbiter first met Master Chief and said, I can't believe you also have a Halo 2.
Yeah, and then they high-fived.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when the Master Chief said it's Halo time and then haloed all over the place.
My favorite part is when the Master Chief looked at the Arbiter and said it's Master Chiefing time and proceeded to Master Chief all over.
And then the Arbiter said it's Arbitering time and then Arbiter
This clash is what activates the Halo ring.
Their high five was so powerful.
That it achieves the same effect as activating the Halo rings.
Yes.
Yeah, I cannot help, unfortunately, but to think of the Halo series in broad scopes, so it is hard to zero in on the one game for me.
Just
I have a similar problem. I never played the games.
It's like I'm thinking of a bunch of bits that happen in this game that like just from perspective later down the line don't make complete sense anymore.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Like I said earlier, there's a lot of retcons to that the series.
Yeah.
And a lot of them end up revolving around the way that like Forerunner stuff works.
Which is dumb.
And one of the things that's really weird to me is it feels like later in the games they try to take a harder science fiction approach to the Forerunner, because although to an extent I would say that the first several Halo games are hard sci-fi, as in they are internally consistent. They don't exactly use like real world physics principles all the time, but they are like theoretical ways that like faster light travel could be achieved and things like that. So it's not like the farthest out of left field things. And then like all the Forerunner stuff is just like, wow, we don't know how any of this shit works.
Well, yeah, but that's the point though. It's like this is some ancient advanced technology. I just found it. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, exactly. And then in some of the later games, they do try and explain how some of Forerunner stuff works, and it's like, well, this still doesn't make any sense. And
No.
now you've just like thrown mud at me. The prerogative I'm taking the Halo mini series we're doing with here is that like these games have always had like some what I consider to be like some fairly significant flaws, and then like as the series goes on, they just get exacerbated.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The issue with a game series like Halo is that it was not intended to be a series.
That is a part of it, yeah.
Yeah. So
That's why there's so much that changes between the first game and the second one.
And also at the time that these games were made, story consistency in like a first person shooter especially was like, whoa. Like the majority of first person shooters at the time were like, you know, you are in building, kill everyone in building. And like that was it, and you just went from mission to mission, and like
Yes.
the story
Doom.
was not like Doom, the old like some I don't even know if like the modern I haven't played a lot of Call of Duty, but I know a lot of the old Call of Duty games were just like story. you just shoot.
You have a gun.
It's a first person shooter, not a first person
This
storybook.
isn't an RPG.
But yeah, so Halo was one of at least one of the first person shooter games to really be like, hey, we want to tell a story. And so like I can understand like kind of struggling with that and wanting to update things and change things. And also this was made at a time when like full on consistency not that important in gaming. It's just like yeah, the scarabs look different in 2 and we updated the design. It's a new game. I don't know what you want
Also,
from me.
they're worms now.
Yeah. It's like what? You know, like and so like I can see where those inconsistencies came from. Though still not the biggest inconsistency. That comes with 4, which we'll get to.
It's like how you have like a slab of sidewalk, and it's got a crack in it. As the years go by,
you fill in the crack and you get a new crack, and then you fill in the crack and then you get a new crack, and then it just sort of looks like a bunch of blobs of cement.
I was thinking that the crack just got wider, but that also works.
Yes. But yeah, so like, so yeah, like I get it. Like I get why they. I see.
I understand why. I get why things do unfold the way that they do. It really is like, and also like, because we're coming up near it. I feel like it's well, obviously, I think discuss it a lot more. Make it 3 and 4. The split that happened between where Bungie went off to do other things, and the Halo property fell under dominion of 343 Studios.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm of the opinion, as I've talked to you and Peter about this before, about how Halo as a franchise, like seeing what Bungie has done afterwards as well, that like Halo as a franchise was kind of always doomed to at least hit some kind of a dead spot for a while.
Well, yeah, but yes, 2. One thing I want to say about 2 is also the first time they actually try to like explore an in-depth story.
Yeah, and for its myriad flaws, I do still think that they did a pretty decent job. I really do like the expansion of being able to play as the Arbiter, explore some of the things that are actually going on with the Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as a player, we understand them more. As an audience member,
Yeah.
we get more about them. That's very cool. The split within the Covenant is one of the that happens in this game is one of the entirely probably the sole reason why humanity doesn't fucking die.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like, we need help. Help, please. We got the Covenant and we got the Flood, man. We got this dodgeball game ain't fair. We need some people on our side, dude. You know?
So like, from what I understand it to be, Halo, for what I understand Halo 2 to be, which is like mostly a bunch of people who had not done a whole lot of story writing before, earnestly trying to write a story. It worked out pretty well.
Oh,
you
God,
can
yeah.
tell that they tried really, really hard. At
And
least
I would say they did a pretty they did a very good job considering the circumstances.
You know, it's definitely hard to like try and spin a sequel out of something that wasn't intended to have a sequel.
Yeah.
And Halo 2 is like absolutely a success in terms of doing that, because there being another Halo ring, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess, yeah, it does make sense that like one wouldn't be able to extinguish all life in the galaxy.
Yeah. It also helps that in the first game, the whole thing was like, every faction here does not know what's going on. It's like, did the Covenant know what's going on? No. Did the humans know what's going on? No. Do the Flood know what's going on? I don't know. They don't say anything in that game. They just kill.
They're not smart. The Flood in the first game aren't smart yet, because the way the
No.
Gravemind works for our audience is you get enough Flood mass, and they glop together and form a guy.
Yeah. Like a fun detail from Combat Evolved though was that the Flood started off with just, like beating you to death. But as the game progressed, they started using guns, which showed that they were getting more capable of using technology as time went on and as they absorbed more. So they expanded on that in 2, and that's where you got Gravemind. Which I love that he's just there. Just like, I see you found my grave. Hey! How y'all doing?
There's a mind in it.
Great mind! Woo! Yes. Which also shows more that the Flood is a hive mind. Because in Combat Evolved that is not explored at all. It is just like, oh, Flood, scary, don't want. But the Flood in Halo 2 is just Gravemind in little chunks, dispersing himself, ever expanding.
We just like cut off a little piece of my finger and have it go do a chore for me.
Yeah, that's also how Gravemind talks back to the Prophet during that part where they start taking over High Charity, because the Gravemind isn't like in High Charity. The Flood is in High Charity. They're all just speaking for him and in unison all at once. Because that's what the Flood do.
Yeah, the type of hive mind that the Flood is that they are all of one mind.
Yes.
They don't have all like many individual minds unified by a greater mind. All of them are Gravemind.
All of them are Gravemind, and they absorb the knowledge of others to become more. Johnson is great.
End video.
I
don't have a lot more about Halo 2 specifically that I want to say personally.
Johnson. This is when Johnson makes a bigger appearance in the game, and I love him.
Johnson technically dies in the first game, and then he's alive again, and you see him, and he's like, "How are you alive?" He's like, "That's classified."
But I love it though.
Speaking of other games that never intended to have a sequel, and I know there's so many, but I'm currently drawing a blank. I've forgotten everything I ever knew.
Well, my specialty's Halo, so I can't help you.
Yeah. It definitely does. Like 2 literally does end on a space ship hangar. trying to figure out what to. Because he's not hanging off a cliff. He's falling through the vacuum of space.
Halo 2 literally ends on, I'm gonna finish this fight now, and then it ends.
And then it ends.
And then we have to wait for him to actually finish the fight.
So clearly there's more that's gonna happen in the next game.
Yes. It was really funny, cause my dad first played Halo 2 when it had like first come out, right? And he's always told me it's funny because like, you know, he gets to that part, you know, and you know the Master Chief's like, you know, finish this fight, and then the credits start rolling, and my dad's like, what? Like, what? That's it?
No, that's it. There's no more games after Master Chief dies in space.
He
The
tries
Covenant wins.
to jump from orbit, and his armor doesn't lock, and just go.
His armor doesn't lock, and he just fucking breaks his neck open.
Oh my god. It's just, sir, finishing this fight, and then it's just.
Oh, sorry. The seal between his helmet and his suit broke, and he's asphyxiated.
I don't know what else said. Peter? Do
Peter?
the thing?
Peter, did you die?
Peter? Cole, quick, make a noise.
The council decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. But ultimately, the terms of your subscription are up to me.